we go through seasons, right?
Yeah.
And there's seasons where you are going forward and you are taking action and there is opportunity. And over longer periods of time, over 5 or 10 years, absolutely you should be doing that. If you're going backwards for really long periods of time, that's a huge problem.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at the economic conditions and going, it's really tough, the win might be that you go backwards less because you're concentrating, or you're breaking even, or you're only going forward a little bit instead of a lot. And that can be quite hard for people to wrap their heads around.
Welcome to Checks and Balances, brought to you by Partners Life. I'm Michael Vincent. This is James Blair. And today, it's our Survive to 25 episode. Sometimes it's okay not to be okay.
We're back in your life, and today we're talking about it's okay to not be okay at the moment, because we talk all the time about go buy some properties, go invest into some shares, start a business, take control of your future, set some goals, knock it out. But Mike, it's hard at the moment.
Yeah, it is. It is. And we try and keep things on this podcast informative, light, chatty, serious, a mix of things to try and make sure that people are, listening to us and absorbing the content. And, a lot of the times you have to talk about the fun stuff, right? You have to talk about the investment properties, the S&P 500, how you can take action in your life and some of the motivational things to, keep people engaged and make sure that they're on the right track. But sometimes, you're not okay. It's pretty tough out there at the moment. We're talking about great time in the market to buy property and do this. But some people, that is not the reality for them at the moment. They are not in a position to do that.
Yeah, and as human beings, we always like to feel like we're moving forward and making progress. And it can be quite hard when we're not, and we feel like we can be beating ourselves up. But the reality is, interest rates sitting where they're sitting, if you've got a mortgage, the percentage of your income that is going towards paying that mortgage, if we're thinking about unemployment numbers, restructures within business, we all feel poorer because assets continue to drop in value. And, New Zealand in general is just, we're just waiting and waiting and waiting for it to get a little bit better.
Yeah. And the big thing around the uncertainty around jobs and employment at the moment, like I see that KPMG has just done a round of layoffs as well. So even the management consultants are taking their own advice and laying themselves off. I joke. But, it is pretty tough out there. And when we're looking at, the good news in the market, the official cash rate is coming down, interest rates are dropping. A lot of people are looking at that and going, that's great for you, but my interest rate hasn't moved. I'm still on 6.5, 6.7, 6.8. Our customers on 7.2% that they just refixed at because they got a low equity margin. There's no equity in their property. They're asking me to revalue their property so they can see if they've got that 20%. It's gotten worse.
You don't want to revalue property at the moment. You're just hoping you don't have negative equity.
And that's a lot. Some people have negative equity, right?
Yeah.
And I was looking at some customers' houses yesterday. Again, they're fixed at 7.2%. But literally, it went from they had 10% to now they have $5,000 equity in between the size of their loan and the value of their property. You do not want to revalue that house.
I spoke to a customer the other day as well. Their property is worth $250,000 less than what they bought it for.
Yeah.
And they're having to sell it because the interest rates are so high. So, there's huge financial implications with all of this.
Yeah. And, we're not immune to this either. Like in my own situation, I'm going backwards $600 a week at the moment because the debt load and the interest rates are so high. And I'm like, whew, man, there is only so much runway you can tolerate with that before I am in a world of hurt.
Yeah. In my situation, like our mortgage costs are like we are probably sitting at like 65% of our income is going straight towards mortgage repayments. Then you chuck on top childcare costs as well.
Yeah.
Like there is not a lot of fat in anything at the moment. So we wanted to do this episode because, like I said, we just talk about being really optimistic and taking control of your future and doing all these things. But we go through seasons, right?
Yeah.
And there's seasons where you are going forward and you are taking action and there is opportunity. And over longer periods of time, over 5 or 10 years, absolutely you should be doing that. If you're going backwards for really long periods of time, that's a huge problem.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at the economic conditions and going, it's really tough, the win might be that you go backwards less because you're concentrating, or you're breaking even, or you're only going forward a little bit instead of a lot. And that can be quite hard for people to wrap their heads around.
Oh, yeah.
Before we move on, we talk all the time about planning and growing our wealth, but protecting that wealth is just as important. That's why having the right insurance in place can help when life goes unexpectedly.
And that's why this episode is brought to you by Partners Life, a New Zealand operated award-winning insurance provider with over 300,000 Kiwis insured and 89% of claims paid.
Partners Life understand that having some insurance is better than having no insurance. They have flexible and personalized solutions for any budget or situation.
Check out their website in our show notes below. If I can get to 2025 and be breaking even by, say, March 2025, I will be not out of the woods, but like in a much better situation. I will be very happy with that outcome, that I've only gone backwards cash-wise, a pretty significant but a manageable amount. Beyond that, and that's I'm staring down the barrel of some pretty tough conversations.
Yeah, I know you're having dinner with a friend the other night, and you were kind of talking about your situation and going backwards each week, and it's really stuck with me what the friend said in response.
Yeah, so I was having dinner with a friend last night, a couple of nights ago, and she sort of said "Yeah, you're going backwards. We're all going backwards," and it's just, how do you rationalize it? What can you change about your life to kind of make sure that you're managing that and that you got a clear runway? And the first action I took was she paid for dinner. I'm dead serious.
Yeah, I've been trying to live by that for years, Mike. You know that.
Yeah.
So the big thing here, right, is, so what should you do? So we're going, it's tough. Don't feel bad if you're in a tough spot. Lots of people are in a tough spot. The question is, what should you do? I think the really big thing is knowing your numbers.
Yeah.
So it is very easy. We don't like to know about bad things, right? And we go like, everybody's struggling a bit. It'll be all right. She'll be right. But I think you need to face into it, and you need to understand your situation, and you need to understand how much of a runway you've got, because obviously you can't go backwards forever. So you really need to, if you are struggling at the moment, the worst thing you can possibly do is put your head in the sand. You need to know your numbers, know what you're going to do about it, and then work out, okay, when things get better, when interest rates improve, what am I doing moving forward? Whether, you're moving forward 100 miles an hour or you're going backwards a little bit, the outcome is always the same. You need a plan.
Yeah, I always think back to the first or second episode we did with Ilsa Wolf when she was talking about, I had gone absolutely full leverage on properties. Rates went up. I had then had 2 kids. So we're down to 1 income. And we were going backwards, a lot very quickly. I think it was like 50 or 60 grand a year, she said. And instead of putting her head in the stand, she goes, right, time to pull my socks up and do this. And started at the top of her cost and went, what can I cut out? And literally was like, when was the last time I called my insurance company? When was the last time I looked for a better broadband provider? When was the last time I did this? And just went through literally step by step. And she is an absolute inspiration at that moment to be like, no, not putting my head in the sand. I'm gonna get through this.
Yeah, and the other thing is along the same sort of lines, tightening the belt. So it's very easy to get into a mindset of being like, screw it all. Like, what's it all matter anyway? Like, you need to look at those costs and go, what are my fixed? What are my variables? I don't need a holiday this year. I don't need to go and do these renovations right now and add additional costs to my situation because it's tough enough, and you don't want to make it worse for yourself.
Yeah, and look, we don't want to be too grim on everything, but this is a reality for a lot of people at the moment, and it can be really frustrating here. People talking about great time to buy, great time to invest, great time to do things. The reality is your situation is something that you need to manage, and that you have as much control over anything as you're ever going to have. So that's what you've got to focus on, not running a race against other people.
Yeah, for sure. And for those who are in a situation where they can do something, and you're listening to this and going, I knew it was bad. I probably didn't realize it was that bad. And then you've heard people like us going, you should do something. There is opportunity now. Other people are in a position to do something. You should do something. You should take control. You will look back at this time and go, that was a missed opportunity. So get on and do it.
100%.
Okay, we'll wrap it up there. So once again, just coming back to, if you are struggling at the moment, make sure you face it head on, you work through your numbers, you set those goals. Remember, Michael, tell people it's going to get better. Tell me it's going to get better.
It's going to get better.
It's going to get better. 2025 is going to be a hell of a lot better than 2024.
Yep.
Much love to Partners Life for sponsoring this episode. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so other people can know it's okay to not be okay. Please review, please give us a like, and we will catch you next time.
Cheers.